Hi, I'm Harrod from the Cookalong Clwb, and I'm going to show you a really delicious dinner, midweek supper. You can use leftovers. It's called Tartiflette, which sounds a little bit fancy, but actually it's potatoes and cheese. What's not to love? In this one we're going to go traditional French style, and we're going to put a little bit of bacon, some onion and garlic. We're going to cook those down. We've already cooked the potatoes because what's really good is to use leftover potatoes. So this is a great thing for Boxing Day. Leftover roasties, leftover potatoes, cheese. You can choose your cheese. There is a specific cheese you should use for tartiflette, but I can't remember how to say it. You can use Gruyere and Emmental. So Emmental is nice and melty. The Gruyere's got the flavour. But you could use mozzarella, you could use cheddar, you could use blue cheese, whatever you like, don't overthink it. This is cheese and potatoes baked in the oven, served with, yes, you do need to have something green, some salad. That's it, jobbed. Absolutely incredible. So this is a bit noisy, but into here, so this is a frying pan. I've just used some oil, you could use butter, whatever you've got. I'm going to put some lardons. So these I've bought, but you could use some bacon. You could go to your butcher and just say, can I have some ends, some of the offcuts of bacon, and use that. And I'm going to cook the bacon, which is quite noisy, bit of frying going on, and in the meantime I'm going to cut the onion. And what we need to be conscious of is when we're cutting up fruit and veg, is not feeding the feed bin. You know, let's feed our tummies. So I've just cut a tiny bit off the root, tiny bit off the top. Watch your fingers, keep your fingers away. Onions are a bit roly, they're always going to try and kill you, so be really careful. Get a reliable, responsible adult to help you. Peel off this outer skin. That just won't soften or cook nicely, but the rest of it will. Can make your eyes water a little bit, so if you do want to put some swimming goggles on, not a bad idea. Just saying. There we go. Just going to chop up the onion, so I'm cutting through the arch of my fingers. And I'm just going to chop up the onion. This just adds a really nice flavour to the potatoes. You can cut them any shape or size you want. I just quite like them in chunks because I want them to go quite soft. It's literally bacon, onions, garlic, potatoes, and too much cheese. Too much cheese! There can never be too much cheese. If you don't like cheese, don't make it. Just have potatoes. So the bacon's going a little bit crispy, lots of flavour, and it's released a lot of flavour as well, so that's going to make the onions cook really nice and flavoursome. And then I'm just going to do some garlic. So garlic comes in a bowl, and we just want one good sized piece of garlic, which is a ridiculous thing to say because what's a good and what's a bad size? We want one large garlic bulb, so I'm going to use these two. And yes, you can use a garlic press if you want to, but I think by the time you've washed it, why bother? So this is a sharp knife here, but I'm going to put my palm of my hand on the flat bit. So I'm not going to cut myself, and I'm just going to put my weight on it and crush it, and do the same with that one. So be really careful, get a reliable, responsible adult to help you, and then you just peel it. Job done. I'm going to chop it quite small and chuck it in. So this is the only real cooking bit. The next bit, you're going to layer it all up and pop it in a thing and pop it in the oven. So this is great with leftovers, great as a side dish even. You could have a smaller portion and have it with some steak or roast dinner if you wanted to, rather than cauliflower cheese. You know, whatever you want to do. I think it's great. Leftovers, really nice with leftovers on Boxing Day too. Good way of using bits up and adding extra flavour. So there we go, that's all going to cook down. So while that's cooking, we'll look at the potatoes. So potatoes, you can peel your potatoes, you don't have to peel your potatoes. I didn't peel the potatoes because life's too short, but I have pre-cooked these. So these have been boiled just in a bit of salted water and drained, and I've let them cool just so that I don't burn my fingers. and I'm going to slice them. So it does take a little bit of patience, but look, I'm just slicing them up roughly. You could use leftover roast potatoes, leftover boiled potatoes. You know, this is one of those dishes that you use what you've got, but they do need to be cooked because you're putting them in the oven with cheese. So the cheese will cook really, really fast and your potatoes will still be raw. So I would say get them cooked first. So I'm just, again, cutting through the arch of my fingers and cutting them. So you want about 1 kilo of potatoes for 4 people, and about 250 grams of bacon, about 300 grams of cream. So we're going to put some delicious cream into this, and about 450 grams of cheese. It's a cheesy one. It's super cheesy, but so worth it. Don't go buying expensive bacon for this one. Go and get some offcuts from your butcher and chop them up, or you know, buy cheap bacon. You can get offcuts of bacon in the supermarkets as well. I'm only using this one, which is really nice, but I'm using this because it's what I had in the freezer. This is an empty the freezer. What have I got? And chuck it all in. So that's beginning to cook down. Now you do kind of need to put wine in it. So ask reliable, responsible adult. If you don't want to put wine, maybe some grape juice or something like that would be really, really good. You don't really want to add any stock because the bacon is salty, so you don't want to add any extra because that'll just be too much. So I'm going to get that to cook down until most of the moisture is gone. But what the wine does is just add a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of sourness, so it'll break through the cream, the potatoes, the cheese, the bacon. Kind of brings it all together, so it's quite integral. But you're not going to get drunk on this, don't worry. The alcohol is cooking off, but if you don't want to use alcohol, that's absolutely fine. Maybe get some grape juice, something like that, or just water. That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to leave that to cook. So for this one, we're going to use some Emmental that was already sliced. So this is holy cheese. So this hasn't got a massive amount of flavour, but it'll melt really, really well. And then we've also got some Gruyere, which is a bit more expensive, but it's got quite a nice nutty flavour. So it goes really well in this sort of dish. But like I say, you just want something that's going to go melty, so you can use that or a raclette or some mozzarella even. And for a bit more flavour, you could use some cheddar even. You know, just have a look at what you've got in the fridge and what's left over. No cheese is going to be bad with this. It's just all about cheese. Cheese, potatoes and bacon is like incredible. So I've just got these dishes, so that's plenty for 4 for tea if you're having it with something else, or you can do bigger. And I'm just going to use my hands and put some butter just so it doesn't stick around the side of the pan. And I'm going to do a layer of potatoes. So this is quite fun. You just put a layer in, make it look pretty, but it doesn't matter because you're going to take it all out in a serving spoon anyway. So there we go, we're going to do 1 layer, and then we're going to put the bacon on the top, and then we're going to do another layer, and pour in the cream and top with cheese. Okay, so our bacon and onions and garlic have cooked. We added wine, and now look. So the wine is pretty much evaporated, but it's added a really nice flavour. So all I'm going to do is layer this up. Now I'm going to be really careful on the seasoning because the bacon is very, very salty. And you just really don't want to over salt it. And I'm just going to put another layer of potatoes on top. So there you go. A layer of potatoes, a layer of onions and bacon and garlic and wine. Now comes the fun part. We're going to put the cheese on. So you can buy Emmental in chunks or slices, or chuck it on the floor. So this is not very tasty. This is all about the melty ooziness. We're going to put the Emmental on, that's on, and now I'm going to put the Gruyere on, which is a little bit nuttier, a little bit more tasty. So I think you're just adding that balance of flavour. And then we're going to put the cream on as well. So that'll just make it really, really, really rich and creamy and tasty. So you need about 200 ml of cream for this one. I probably should have put the cream on before I put the cheese on, but that's okay. We can work it all out. There we go, that's pretty much it. So double cream is really good for cooking. See, that's quite satisfying, I quite enjoyed that. A little bit of salt and pepper on the top. Not too much, you're better to season it on the plate really, because the bacon can be quite salty, but give it a go. That is going to go in the oven around about 180 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes till the cheese goes melty and bubbly and gorgeous on the top. You know, that's got to be good, isn't it? Our tartiflette from the oven. It smells incredible, and you know, it might be called tartiflette, but cheese and potatoes and bacon. Right, I'm just going to grab a cloth and let's see if we can serve some up. So like I say, this would be really good as a side dish, as a main dish. You choose. I've got to use my fingers though. You can be fancy and you can peel the potatoes, but why bother? And the cream. You could use leeks instead of onions. You know, make it as you like, make it your way. But you have to do the French style green salad with some tomatoes. I think that's incredible.